Welcome to Popternative, where we dive into topical discussions from the worlds of pop culture, social media, and sports. Here is your host, Peter Remoliotis, aka PD Beats.
Hello and welcome to the Popternative podcast. This is the podcast where we have digital discussions from the worlds of TV, film, pop culture, everything really, depending on the guests, we talk about it all. As always, I'm your host, Peter Remoliotis, and on Twitter you know me as PD Beats. You will recognize my guests from tons of amazing television shows and films. You will recognize her from The Bold Type on Freeform. She was nominated for Primetime Emmy for her work on Transparent. And of course, she is Jan in The Office. Melora Hardin is with us. Melora, welcome to Popternative.
Thank you. How are you?
I'm doing great. How are you doing during this quarantine?
I'm doing fine. And I'm very grateful that I'm one of the people that is doing fine, because there's a lot of people that are struggling, and so I can't complain. That would be very strange.
No,
for me to complain.
Absolutely, it's crazy times. It's so fluid. We don't know when it's going back to normal. I think that's the biggest struggle right now.
Yeah, that's right, and I am really looking forward to that. I will tell you, I I really miss being able to embrace my friends and family. I mean, my family that's here, but I take groceries to my parents who are, 80 and 90, once a week. And I just want to give them a big hug. And I'm kind of annoyed that I can't.
No, I know.
Even though I have been a home for basically going nowhere except to the grocery store once a week or something.
No, for sure. It is. It's wild. It's a wild time. Obviously it's a good time, but it's a time now for people to make content. I just want to give a shout out to your husband Gildart, because It's amazing what he's doing with Fireside Reading. I just want to give a quick shout out to him.
Yeah, that's nice. It is so cool. This was an idea he had a long time ago, and then for him to, for this to happen, and we just kind of both realized this is really the time people need to be read to. This is the perfect time for it. So he's doing that every day live at 5 on Instagram, and I love it so much. I'm so proud of him.
No, absolutely,
it's a beautiful gift.
It is really awesome. Whether you act, you sing, you write, you're all storytellers. When did Melora Hardin decide she wanted to be a storyteller?
Gosh, that's a really good question, and I really think I've been doing that since I was little. I played pretend games, what I would call pretend games, since I was, I cannot remember when I started that. But my parents were both actors, and they would play along. We would sometimes, my friends and I, pretend that we were running away, and that there was the wicked stepmother, and I would tell my mom, we're runaways, and you're the wicked stepmother, and we'd come around the corner, and she'd be like, she'd totally play with us. So I think I've been doing that all my life. Just my interest in weaving webs in my head, and pretend, and imagination, and hours and hours and hours and hours of that.
No, absolutely. Well, you've accomplished a lot of amazing things in your career, but we do have to mention that you are Jan from The Office. And I just have to say, isn't it wild? I mean, you filmed that show, and that show came out years ago, but even pre-quarantine, I mean, people are still watching and binging that every day, and it's something you've done years ago. You and the cast and crew, you did that years ago, right?
Yeah.
So isn't that crazy how it's become such a classic?
It is. It's amazing. And for something, because I started acting professionally when I was 6 years old, and, for something there was a time when something literally had a shelf life. It would come out on television at a certain time on a certain day, and you would have to show up for it. I loved Charlie's Angels when I was little. I loved Little House on the Prairie. So I would have to, make an appointment to be at the TV set at that time. You couldn't watch it whenever you wanted. You couldn't, tune in whenever you felt like it. It was there for you when it was there for you. And this idea of The Office just having, there's no such thing as a shelf life anymore, especially with The Office. It seems to it's like the gift that keeps on giving, and it keeps on, giving the gift of laughter to multiple generations. I mean, I have fans that are 70 and I have fans that are 16, 13, 12, 10. So, and all in between. It's quite amazing.
There's so many, Jan moments and office moments, but what I find interesting is obviously, the dinner party episode is one that everyone kind of talks about forever, and I'm sure it's brought up to you many, many times. My favorite thing about that, though, is the behind the scenes on YouTube showing all, like, the outtakes.
Oh, my God.
That's the best.
I haven't even watched that, so I love that you have.
That's even the best, because it just seemed like you guys laughed a lot. And it was, I feel like it was really perfect. No, I know. So, I mean, Jan is a very interesting, complex character. A lot of people find her hilarious, you know what I mean? But she's all over the place. I mean, how do you prepare for a role like that, Melora?
I mean, I just loved her. I clicked in with her from the minute, the minute I met her on the page. It was just like a dance. It was a dance between the writers and the actors and the directors as far as who she became. And I think they were looking to me and things that I brought to it that developed her in the way that she ultimately developed. And I was obviously receiving the gifts that they were giving me in the script. So yeah, it was a really fun and really organic dance that just sort of, made her who she is.
I want to know very quickly your favorite kind of Jan office moment, and then I want to know kind of and then in general, what's kind of your favorite kind of moment or episode of the show? Might have to do with your character, so maybe it'll be two. But I just specific Jan moment and then a specific office moment.
Well, I mean, obviously the dinner party is my favorite episode moment, for Jan. That was just an amazing, and there's so many great Jan moments in that episode.
Yeah.
I loved, having to kind of dance a little bit off the beat to the Hunter song. That's something that I am a dancer. So that was sort of a fun challenge for me to kind of just be a little off, a little wrong, not quite right. Lolly, come here. My dog wants to be part of the podcast. Lolly, come here. And then I would say that the other thing, great office moment. I mean, a lot of people don't talk about the cocktail party episode, but I do love that episode too. I think that's a really funny episode when Jan you start to see her start to spiral a little bit. And I love that.
So that's, that's a workplace comedy show that you start on, and now kind of shifting more to kind of your recent projects. You're on another kind of workplace show with the Bold Type.
Yeah.
Which is like a magazine, a big kind of huge magazine, kind of like a Cosmopolitan, I believe, right? Yes,
that's right.
And that's a fun show.
It is. It's a great show. And what's fun about the Bold Type is that it's very modern and cool and like hip and, of the moment, but it's also aspirational.
Yep. So
you get a lot of the beauty and a lot of the, the beautiful clothes. I wear incredible clothes on that show. And, and sort of, the characters really do the right thing. They tend to, be really kind to each other. And that was sort of why I took the show, why I wanted to do the show, was because I think it's really important for people to see a woman of power who is also kind and has a lot of integrity and really cares for her employees. Okay. She's building them up and helping to give them courage and support to move forward and move through their challenges.
Yeah. You kind of set me up for this question. Do you get to keep some of the clothes?
You know what? I wish I did, but they won't let me even buy them. It's insane. It doesn't make any sense.
I know. It's I had to ask. You said it was set up.
I understand.
Another thing too in your amazing career in television is you were nominated for an Emmy for Transparent, and I believe Transparent was like the first Amazon show or one of them, right?
Well, it was certainly the one that put Amazon on the map for sure. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it definitely did.
It's just, to have that kind of, thing to kind of have on what you've kind of accomplished, being nominated for such a prestigious award. I mean, what was kind of going through your head, and do you kind of look back and say, like, I'm an Emmy nominated actress?
Well, I mean, I have to say, for me, as I said, being in this business for, what is that? I don't know, like 40 some odd years. Yeah, that's a benchmark for sure. That's a very exciting, benchmark. And I was nominated, with some incredible, talented actors. So it was such an honor. And, I don't think I quite understood the sort of the saying that, the nomination is the thing until I was nominated, because it's really true that obviously there has to be one person that wins, but to be selected one of 5 or one of 6 or 7 out of your entire industry to be recognized and honored, it really is a true honor. And you do feel really, you just feel like, wow, that's, because all the people that you're honored with, nominated with, are, stellar performers. And so like 100%. That you're amongst their company is pretty exciting.
No, absolutely. People are kind of calling this like the golden age of television, like the last 5 years. When did you specifically realize or notice that this was a special time for television?
Oh, gosh. I think I'm pretty on track with everybody else. I don't think I had any like premonitions, or I don't know that I lagged too far behind. I think it is a really, really exciting time.
No, absolutely.
For television and streaming,
streaming. I was about to say.
We're still calling that television.
Yeah, because all the streaming I mean, like we talked about, Transparent on Amazon, but you look now and, there's Apple TV and there's Hulu and there's Netflix, and I found out that NBC has one called Peacock, and I'm just like
and
losing
Disney's
my mind.
Their platform, and it's a lot.
It is crazy.
Yeah.
Something too I wanted to kind of mention, which was pretty cool, and Gildart mentioned it when he was on my podcast, and he starred as your husband on The Bold Type.
He does. Yes, he does.
That's awesome.
He plays my husband, and it's so fun. I mean, our characters are, different than us, obviously, but it is a fun thing to do. We've done it before. We did it we made a movie together in 2009 that he wrote and I directed called You, and we played husband and wife in that. So we've done it before, but it is really, really great to have him on The Bold Type, and I directed an episode, and so that was fun too.
It's pretty cool to see that, because I interviewed a musician recently who his parents are singer-songwriters as well, and I asked him, like, do you like collaborate, with your family a lot? And he was like, the more I think about it, he's like, no, not really. So it's not. He's like, I probably will eventually, but like, no, we do, like, he says we do separate things, but it's cool that from time to time you and Gildart, your husband, could collaborate. Yeah,
we do, and we enjoy that very much. We've enjoyed that many, many times. We've enjoyed that.
Absolutely.
It's a fun thing to do. It
is pretty cool. What do you think, kind of, like, we talked about The Bold Type, talk about The Office. I really like this kind of theme of, like, the workplace environment. I mean, do you feel like, is it safe to say that just people kind of love those type of shows because they could simply like adapt to it? Like The Office, how many people have jobs like that? A lot of people, you know what I mean? They might be around people, like Jan, or like, Mike. And, I keep calling him Prison Mike. I don't know
Michael
why.
Scott. Yeah.
Prison Mike is probably one of my favorite kind of characters from The Office. It's not even a character. I joked around with my friends. We had a night. We were like, "Who's your favorite character?" On top of my head, I just said Prison Mike, and they were like, "Just Michael Scott." I'm like, no, Prison Mike.
That's funny.
But do you think people relate to it because of that, Melora? Like, it's just like a lot of people could, it's close to home for a lot of people, like that office space.
I've had so many people come up to me and just say, "Oh my God, you're just like my boss," or, especially with The Bold Type, I hear that. And especially with The Bold Type, I hear that more in terms of people saying, "I want a boss like you," or like Jacqueline Carlisle, or I want to be a boss like Jacqueline Carlisle. And that I think is just so wonderful. I think with The Office, it's just sort of, people either see themselves in one of the characters or they see somebody that they work with in one of the characters.
I saw that there were some office reunions during this quarantine.
Yeah, we did a couple little charity things.
That is awesome. And it's one of those things too where I saw interviews too with John Krasinski. I mean, a lot of the cast still kind of keeps in touch and everything, and it was like a family essentially.
Yeah, I mean, when you work together for a long time, you certainly feel like you know each other. We don't meet each other for dinner.
No, but like you keep in touch and everything, especially with social media.
Yeah, but we definitely are, we're supportive of each other, and when we see each other at events, we always are like happy to see each other, give each other big hugs, and catch up. Yeah, it's exciting.
Absolutely. Well, Melora, thank you so much for joining me on Popternative. It was great to chat.
Oh, thank you so much for having me. It was great to see you, and great to say hi to everybody.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Where can people follow you on social media to keep up to date with everything?
On Instagram, I'm at Melora D Hardin, and on Twitter, I'm at Melora Hardin. And yeah, I guess
anything we could be looking out for. I know you did a Bold Type Instagram live. That was pretty cool. I tuned in for that.
I did. Thank you. I'm doing a few lives with Joanna Coles, who's the exec producer of the Bold Type. And I'm currently working on a documentary that I'm hoping to have finished by the end of this year.
Wow.
So that's very exciting. And maybe when I get that done and that's out in the world, we can have another chat about that.
And very quickly, how important is it, especially like the entertainment world, like wearing many hats, acting, directing, writing, doing it all, you know what I mean? Some people don't have the opportunity sometimes to do it all, but I feel like if you can do it all, it's beneficial in the long run.
I mean, I think people should do what their passion is, and I think sometimes people have many different passions, and other times people don't, and they have just that one sort of core thing that's their focus. I just happen to, be sort of, I guess, multi-interested, as it were. I've been singing all my life and writing songs since I was 2, and acting since I was 6 professionally, and dancing since I was 5, and and I'm directing now, and I would love people to look out for that episode of the Bold Type that I directed, and to send me some comments. It's called Snow Day, and I think you'll probably see it sometime this year. I'm assuming they'll let you guys see it.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, yeah, you guys were working on like an upcoming season of Bold Type, and because of all this, it got kind of postponed, right? I believe. Yeah,
I mean, I don't know how they're going to roll it all out.
It's crazy time. There's a lot of unknowns. But again, thank you so much for joining me on Popternative. I really enjoyed chatting. And say hi to Gildart.
I will. And he says hi to you. And thank you guys so much. Thank you.
No problem. Well, this has been Popternative. YouTube.com/Popternative for previous episodes. And until next time, this is Melora Hardin and PD Beats signing off.
Thank you for tuning in to Popternative. Make sure to check out our past episodes of Popternative on YouTube. Be sure to like Popternative on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.
This has been an Autograph Communications production.